with the increase in methamphetamine, you know, with heroin and opiates, it's the consequences are obviously pretty grave.
Yeah.
But with meth, you know, it doesn't prove to be as lethal.
Yeah.
However, as far as the brain functioning of clients, it's almost like there has to be this time period.
Yeah.
For just to even be able to relate with them, for them to.
Yeah. I've brought up a few times to Judge Welch, and she and I are collaborating on some things that hopefully will help. But what I've said over and over again recently, the meth that people are using right now is creating chronic, long-lasting, sometimes unsolvable mental health problems in people. They were totally fine, meaning like their mental health. They didn't have depression, they didn't have psychosis, they didn't have delusionary thinking, and then they get on meth, even for a short period of time, even once or twice. And then for the rest of their life, we're dealing with somebody that now has a residual mental illness because the meth created substantial long-lasting change in the way that their brain functions. It's insane. Right. They got afraid of dying on heroin and opiates, but they weren't ready to get clean, so they started using meth. And the average person looks and says, well, methamphetamine isn't an opioid. Why would they use that? It's not the same. They don't care. And they just want to feel different. They don't want to feel the way that they feel when they're sober.
They do. And they feel safe, and it's the easiest thing for them. It's the cheapest thing for them to self-medicate for. And in reality, people say, well, I don't understand why, you know. Well, the truth of it is, you know, if you were looking for alcohol to fill that void, meth is a lot cheaper.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, it's an economical thing. I would definitely agree with your assessment about the mental health. I mean, just to put it in perspective, in a 6-month period in 2020, we were limited in the amount of house checks that we did. But even with that limited, you know, time where basically everything stopped, we took over 200 firearms out of these homes in a 6-month period. And that is directly related to the paranoia, the methamphetamine. We're not talking we took grandpa's shotgun out of the house. We're talking about loaded handguns underneath their pillow. And, you know, the field's really become a lot more dangerous. And we're still going in to do the accountability, but at the same time, I think we got our hands full.
Yeah. You know, there's kind of two conversations about addiction and then about mental health. Because you and I have collaborated on a couple of cases with people who we know have chronic, untreated mental health issues. And that underlying issue is what perpetuates criminal behavior. It's very low-level criminal behavior, but it's sometimes very clear to us that people coming through the court system have undiagnosed, untreated mental health issues, but there's not a real system set up to help support them and get them well, the same way there is, like, you can pee in a cup and we can say, ooh, you're using drugs. Now I can instantaneously connect you with treatment. There's no cup to pee in. There's no finger prick like diabetes for mental health. It's much harder because we're talking about a violation of human rights a lot of times, to take away this person's right to make their own choices about what they will and won't do for themselves. And that's been something that I think we're still working on fixing, the mental health side of things. And that's, I think, the most frustrating for me. Most of the people that we're talking about, they have treatable mental illness, but it's just so hard to connect them to what they need and provide accountability that still honors the dignity of that person. It's so much harder with mental health.